Every morning, millions of Americans do something that feels completely harmless. They boil water, drop in a tea bag, and wait a few minutes. It looks clean, smells comforting, and feels incredibly healthy. But in many teacups, the first thing released is not tea. Instead, it may be plastic. Not chunks you can see, but microscopic particles so small they completely disappear into your drink. According to scientific studies, some tea bags can release billions of these plastic particles into a single hot cup. When we hear about plastic in our tea, we naturally assume the leaves themselves are contaminated. But in this environmental mystery, the leaves are not the main suspect at all. The real culprit is the bag itself. Many modern tea bags are not just made of paper. Some are heat-sealed using plastic adhesives. Others, especially premium, silky, or pyramid-shaped bags, are woven directly from nylon, PET, polypropylene, or PLA, which is a plant-based plastic. In 2019, researchers decided to test these commercial plastic tea bags under standard brewing conditions. They carefully removed the tea leaves to isolate the packaging, then steeped the empty plastic bags in hot water, heated to 95 degrees Celsius, or about 203 degrees Fahrenheit. What they discovered in the water was shocking. A single plastic tea bag released an astronomical number of synthetic fragments directly into the cup. Specifically, researchers counted approximately 11.6 billion microplastic particles and 3.1 billion nanoplastic particles in just one serving. While this study focused on plastic bags rather than traditional paper ones, it proved that plastic tea bags shed on a massive scale. To understand this, we have to look at the scale. Microplastics are defined as plastic particles smaller than 5 millimeters. While still incredibly tiny, many are large enough to be detected under a standard laboratory microscope. Nanoplastics, however, are on an entirely different level. They are so microscopic that standard filters cannot trap them. At this sub-micron scale, plastic particles stop behaving like visible trash and start acting like active chemistry, capable of interacting directly with cells. A plastic spoon on your kitchen counter is easy to spot and avoid, but billions of invisible nanoplastics floating in a warm morning beverage represent a completely different kind of exposure, bypassing our basic physical senses entirely. Why does this happen so easily? First, it comes down to heat. High temperatures stress and soften the plastic polymers, causing the molecular structure to expand and shed fragments. Second, tea bags steep for minutes, allowing ample time for these particles to slowly detach into the liquid. Finally, there is mechanical stress. Stirring your drink, squeezing the tea bag, or moving it up and down adds physical force that helps shake the loosened particles free. It is a perfect recipe for release: synthetic polymers, near boiling water, and physical movement, repeated day after day. More recent research has expanded on this. Scientists tested tea bags made of nylon, polypropylene, and cellulose-based blends, confirming they all can release substantial amounts of micro and nanoplastics. But they also wanted to see what happens when these particles meet human cells. In laboratory experiments, human intestinal cells actually absorbed these tiny plastic particles. The uptake was especially notable in mucus-producing cells, with some nanoplastics even managing to reach the cell's nucleus. It is a critical finding that demonstrates a clear biological pathway. However, we must look at this finding objectively. A controlled laboratory cell study is not the same as clinical proof of disease in real people. Drinking a cup of tea does not mean plastic is instantly invading your organs or causing immediate harm. The true scientific concern is chronic exposure. We do not yet know the long-term impact of ingesting billions of nanoplastics over decades. Rather than panicking, we should treat this as a straightforward opportunity to reduce an unnecessary daily exposure. This brings us to a common misconception, the biodegradable alternative. Many eco-conscious consumers actively seek out tea bags labeled as plant-based or biodegradable, thinking they are entirely safe. But many of these bags are made from PLA, or polylactic acid. While PLA is derived from plants, like cornstarch, it is still a polymer. It biodegrades under industrial composting conditions, but in your hot mug, it can still shed massive amounts of nanoplastics into your drink. So how can you spot plastic in your tea? Examine the bag closely. If it has a shiny, silky, or mesh-like texture, or if it is shaped like a pyramid, it is highly likely to contain synthetic polymers like nylon, PET, or PLA. Traditional flat paper tea bags seem safer, but many still use a thin layer of heat-resistant plastic, like polypropylene, to seal the edges shut. Unless a brand explicitly states they are plastic-free and use no synthetic sealants, you cannot assume they are clean. Fortunately, the solution is incredibly simple. The most effective way to eliminate this exposure is to switch to loose-leaf tea. By using a stainless steel infuser, a ceramic teapot, or a metal strainer, you bypass single-use packaging entirely. If you prefer the convenience of bags, look for brands that clearly certify their packaging as plastic-free, unbleached paper, and home compostable. The core rule is simple. Avoid letting plastic polymers spend extended time in boiling water, a lesson that applies to plastic cups and containers as well. A daily ritual, like brewing tea, should be simple and pure. Protecting your health from microplastics does not require expensive technology or drastic lifestyle overhauls. It is as simple as keeping plastic packaging away from hot water, restoring your morning routine to just water and leaves. Check your tea bags today and let us know in the comments, do you prefer bags or loose leaf? Next, we will explore another hidden source of kitchen plastic, cutting boards.